Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 4 Dallas Cowboys Thursday night recap show here with KMS on the Birds vs. Boys YouTube channel. If you have not yet subscribed after you're watching this video, please head back to the homepage, smash that subscribe button. Follow us anywhere you listen to podcasts as well, Birds vs. Boys and Birds vs. Boys on all of your favorite social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and you can follow myself at KMS22. Where to begin on this Thursday night debacle? Cowboys win 20-15, but it was just an ugly game in all aspects. I saw people tweeting after, like, thank God that game is over. It was a complete mid-off in every single way. The only person who really looked good for the Dallas Cowboys, well, I shouldn't say that. Damarian Overshown looked good. It was probably Mozzie Smith's best game of his career. But Dak Prescott looked as sharp as he's looked in a long time. By far his best game of the season. Probably his best game going back towards last regular season. 22 of 27, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he was only sacked once. Great performance by Dak. He was finding his guys, right? 7 receptions for CeeDee Lamb for 98 yards, 7 for 49 for Jake Ferguson. Tolbert added 3 for 24. Brandon Cooks only had 1 for 16, but we can get into that in terms of Mike McCarthy's offense not using Brandon Cooks the way he should be used. He's the vertical threat, right? He's the speedster. Enough with the curl routes, stop routes. That's not what Brandon Cooks does. That's not what Brandon Cooks is good at. Continuously beating their head against the walls, running Brandon Cooks in those type of routes, Mike's lost. And even though the Cowboys won this game, I had said if they lost this game, lost to Pittsburgh and the Detroit before the bye, Mike was gone. This may have saved him, spared him, that he will be here for the rest of the season, because dropping to 1-3, losing to your rival on primetime and Thursday night would have been outrageous. And I'm not sure if you know this. This is the first Thursday night road game for the Dallas Cowboys ever. So anybody who says, oh, everybody makes it easy for the Cowboys, or it's all set up against the Cowboys. Cowboys, the NFL hates them. That every other team has done this multiple times. It's the first time the Cowboys have done it. We know Thursday night games are generally not kind to the road team. And the Cowboys squeaked out a win. Dak Prescott does what he does against the Giants. But in terms of just flow of the game, the amount of penalties was just horrendous, right? It seemed like every play towards both teams, there was 1 to 2 to 7 flags on the field, slowing pace. I felt like I saw the referee and heard his voice more than I saw Kirk Herbstreit and listened to his voice. It was, you even heard Al Michaels getting visibly angry with the officials and the gameplay. There are still so many questions about this team, but I also thought we did get a couple highlights, a couple thumbs up, a couple answers. Tyler Guyton didn't look good. A couple of holding penalties. He's coming off the field at the end of the game saying there needs to be new refs. I mean, Tyler, you didn't look good. There was a lot of holding penalties that were correct, but I get it. Rookie, 4th start, going against guys like Brian Burns and Thibodeau. Not easy. But a rookie that did play well. He did have 1 penalty for a hold. Cooper Beebe, 0 pressures again. His second game in 4 career starts with 0 pressures. And he was going against big decks all night. People were questioning, there's no way that he's going to hold up, and he did. So bravo to Cooper Beebe, keeping the pocket clean and helping in the run game too, right? The run game wasn't anything to run home and tell mom and dad about. And 23 rushes for 80 yards. Dowdle leading the way, 11 for 46. Zeke had 5 for 19. Zeke did have a couple runs at the end that were impressive and kind of helped ice the game. But seeing the likes of a Cooper Beebe, Jalen Tolbert started this game. I think he had 2 or 3 penalties. I tweeted out, remember when Jalen Tolbert lost the Green Bay Packers game 2 years ago in the playoffs because of a penalty? The experiment seems to be a little bit over, but he did show up with a couple nice catches, 3 catches in the game. So it's a little bit of a positive if we want to put a positive spin on it. And the one guy I was extremely impressed with was Mozzie Smith. We've been beating Mozzie Smith down weekly, daily. Lack of effort, slow off the ball. Fat guy, lost a lot of weight, needs to gain it back on. Just not the first round pick that we had hoped to be this big one technique run stopper. Another Michigan bum, as a lot of Cowboys fans say. One Michigan player I will, on top of Mozzie Smith, who did ball out too, I thought was Jordan Lewis. One of the most surefire tacklers on this defense. There was missed tackles all across the field. It seemed like every time somebody got there, Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, Diggs can't make the tackle. And instead of a 5-yard play on a third down, they get 8 and they get the first down. It's maddening. But Jordan Lewis all over the field, tons of tackles. But Mozzie Smith played the best game that he had. He had 2 big run stuffs. He had 1 suplex tackle that just has gone viral. I feel good for Mozzie Smith. I think he needed this. The Cowboys need this. They held the Giants to 1.1 yards a rush after getting gashed the last 2 weeks. Now, again, the Giants' running attack is not the Ravens. We know that. But Singletary does have some wiggle. There were some times where I thought he was going to, go for 100 last night. We know Daniel Jones can run too. So the defense was flying around. Got to give them props on the way they handled the run. But overall, I mean, Cowboys, for the most part, didn't have answers for Malik Neighbors, but I also think a lot of the league is not going to have too many answers for Malik Neighbors. He is going to be a problem for this division in this league for a long time. But Daniel Jones threw no touchdowns. The Giants ran for no touchdowns. They only had field goals in this game. So 5 for 5 field goals for Greg Joseph. That you have to be happy about. But there were times where you could get off the field and they can't get a stop on third, or force a punt before they get into field goal range, those type of things. Now they were down corners, right? Booth was on the field in the first half getting abused by Neighbors. Why they didn't start traveling Diggs with Neighbors earlier, I don't understand, but Neighbors was beating him. Robinson was beating him. Booth had no answer. So then they put in, I'm not even going to attempt his name, 27, Mr. O came out there. He was getting beat bad all game until the final play of the game where he picked off Daniel Jones to end the game against Jalen Hyatt. It was a nice kind of, go up and get it play. But overall, besides Mozzie Smith, Diggs making a couple plays, and DeMar and Overshown all over the field, Kendricks still looks a step slow. Donovan Wilson, like I said, missing tackles. Malik Hooker's just, I think he's done. There's a lot of questions about this defense, even in a victory where they only gave up 5 field goals. I think that's fair to say. On the other side of the ball, I have multiple questions about Mike McCarthy still. His offense seems to be stuck in the mud sometimes. Some of the play calling, it is 3rd and 12, I think, and you just run an out route to the sideline to Lipke. And Hunter Lipke, by the way, get him the ball more. Short yardage. He can catch the ball. This is the guy that we all expected last year coming in from North Dakota State as an unrestricted free agent. Why so many fans were so excited, because he can do so much. He can be the fullback. He can be a halfback. He can be a tight end. He's kind of that Swiss Army knife guy. A couple people were down on him last year after the fumble on the goal line against Miami. But again, he was a rookie. I think he's coming into his own. But Mike, got to figure out this offense, right? It's almost like last year too, before the bye. That's what this offense looks like again. Stagnant, slow, boring. They need to unlock the keys. Now, CeeDee Lamb looked better. That touchdown, that was a work of art in terms of Dak and CeeDee together. We need more of that. We need more of Brandon Cooks down the seam. they need a running back. Listen, I like Rico Dowdle. He's tough. He's got some juice, but they don't have a home run threat in the backfield. And I think that would spark this offense. I think they also need another receiver too. I don't know if Cooks is a true number 2. Jalen Tolbert as your 3 doesn't really scare anybody. It's really, the CD and Ferguson show with Cooks sprinkled in for 1 for 16 on a nice play. Do they try and bring back Amari Cooper? DeAndre Hopkins might be sprinkled out there from the 0-3 Titans, but do you want another aging veteran like you do Zeke? They're going to have to try and figure something out in terms of running back and receiver. Are they going to? I don't know. Probably not. Are we going to see Dalvin Cook? I don't know, but not seeing Dalvin Cook yet tells me he doesn't look good, right? Because everybody says he's healthy, he's ready to go. He must look really bad. Jets said no thank you. Ravens said no thank you. Cowboys said, let's try. Doesn't seem like it's worth the try, but I'd like to at least see it. And the last thing I have after this ugly game was Mike McCarthy's handling of the end of the game. I think we all know that his situational awareness, his clock management has never been great. You have 3 timeouts. Yes, it's a 51-yard field goal, but for the most part, Brandon Aubrey doesn't miss until this moment. I kind of felt like it was going to be a miss there. But why are we rushing the field goal? You have 3 timeouts. And instead of bringing the clock down to 1 second, calling a timeout, giving Brandon Aubrey a minute, trotting him out, go through your normal and kick it, it was just a rush. Get the offense off, get the special teams on. Here we go. Snap the ball, kick. Everything was rushed for no reason when you had 3 timeouts. Makes no sense to me. Or even pooch punt. Kick it deep. You have Brian Anger, who's also a weapon as a punter. Pin them deep, make them go 90. Essentially, the game is already over. Now, the game was pretty much in hand anyway, up 5, with them having to get 7 and not scoring a touchdown all night. But you never know with a field goal, right? Crazy things happen. So they had to do one of 2 things, and the thing that they did was completely wrong in terms of just rushing on the field and kicking the field goal. If you're going to kick the field goal, call a timeout, take your time, run a little bit of more clock off, and then kick it. Or pooch punt it, make them go 90, and essentially the game is sealed. So more situational bad awareness and game calling from Mike McCarthy. I still have a ton of questions. I think I am officially off the Mike McCarthy boat. I almost found myself at times last night just rooting for chaos, rooting for a loss, rooting for Mike to just go. And that hurts everything in my soul as a Dallas Cowboys fan for my entire life. So that's kind of where we are in this team. And now starts a bit of a gauntlet. Pittsburgh looks good. Justin Fields isn't, setting the world on fire, but that could be one of the biggest defenses in the league. Now this offensive line, Tyler Guyton, Steele, who doesn't look great, have to go against TJ Watt and crew. No, thank you. Then they have the Lions, a bye, the 49ers. Now the 49ers may not still be 100% healthy, and they're a little bit down, but we know what they do against the Cowboys. They still have the Eagles twice. The Commanders look good. They have to play the Texans. It's going to be a long stretch. Getting to 2-2 helps in terms of the playoffs down the road and all that, but right now this just looks like a mediocre football team. And we have big questions too moving forward in terms of DeMarcus Lawrence getting hurt, not coming back, and the big one in Micah Parsons being carted to the locker room. He said x-rays were negative, but he was seen with a limp. He was going to go for an MRI. Is it a high ankle sprain? Was there some sort of little fracture in his foot? I don't know, but I hate it. So we shall see. So Cowboys win 20-15 in a very ugly Thursday night football game. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the comment section of how you felt after this game as a Cowboys fan. And make sure you hit the subscribe button on the homepage as well. And follow us everywhere we are on social media and where you listen to podcasts at Birds vs. Boys Pod. This has been KMS for the Dallas Cowboys Thursday night recap show.